While researching this video, I noticed something unexpected. It seems that the Deadly Years had also heavily influenced the Wrath of Khan. I'd considered just adding the few connections I noticed to the previous video, and then decided better of it. I wanted to take more time to explore the connections further anyway.
Let it take time, lad.
And boy, I'm glad that I did. There was a lot more going on there than I realized. So have a shot or two of Romulan ale, then sit back, relax, and enjoy the 8 striking similarities between the Deadly Years and the Wrath of Khan, starting right now.
Number 1, Gamma Hydra 4.
In the Deadly Years, the Enterprise visits Gamma Hydra 4 to perform a routine medical checkup on the experimental colony stationed there. But what they find is one of the worst cases of body horror in all of the original series. In the Wrath of Khan, Gamma Hydra is also given as a point of reference for a crippled freighter, the Kobyashi Maru.
Our position is Gamma Hydra, Section 10.
Gamma Hydra provides the Deadly Years with something that Balance of Terror didn't have, a direct link to the Wrath of Khan. Gamma Hydra is not mentioned anywhere else in the original series. It only could have come from the Deadly Years.
Number 2, Neutral Zone.
Balance of Terror, the Deadly Years, and the Wrath of Khan all make reference to a neutral zone. In both original series episodes, it's clearly the Romulan neutral zone. In the movie, the presence of Klingon battlecruisers suggests a different neutral zone, one between the Klingon Empire and the Federation. But before the Klingon vessels were recycled from the motion picture, it too was intended to be the Romulan neutral zone.
Number 3, An Aging Kirk.
In the Deadly Years, Kirk struggles to maintain command, not only of his ship, but of his own mind and body, as he prematurely ages from exposure to a strange type of radiation.
Smart, I was just thinking.
In the Wrath of Khan, Kirk's having a midlife crisis as he comes to terms with his natural aging, and the possibility that his best days are behind him.
What am I feeling? Old.
From the start, Harve Bennett, the executive producer and co-writer of Khan, wanted to depict an aging Kirk. And since Kirk's aging was the central theme of the Deadly Years, that could be one of the reasons why that episode caught Bennett's attention and had such an influence over the Wrath of Khan.
Number 4, Kirk's Old Flame.
Janet Wallace was one of several of Kirk's old flames who appeared throughout the original series, and it was originally going to be Wallace who reunites with Kirk in the Wrath of Khan. Not sure how they plan to reconcile the time frame of Kirk and Wallace's previous relationship.
How long has it been?
6 years, 4 months, and an odd number of days.
With Kirk having an unknown child by her,
You mean you don't know?
who would have been around 9 or 10 during the events of the Deadly Years. So they wisely changed Janet Wallace to Carol Marcus, yet another old flame of Kirk's to add to the list, and the only one added in the movies, by the way. They named her Marcus because it sounded similar to Wallace. There's a nod to the Wallace-Marcus connection in Into Darkness. Carol Marcus uses Wallace as an alias when she first meets Kirk and Spock,
Lieutenant Carol Wallace.
which has now morphed into her mother's maiden name.
Relieved that must be some sort of mistake.
My conclusion as well, Dr. Marcus. Wallace is the surname of your mother.
So Kirk's old flame from the Deadly Years, Janet Wallace, directly inspired the character of Carol Marcus in the Wrath of Khan.
Number 5, Inexperienced Commander.
In the Deadly Years, the Enterprise was delivering Commodore Stalker to his new post on Starbase 10. When Stalker, who has never commanded a ship of his own, is compelled to assume command, his inexperience nearly gets the Enterprise destroyed by a Romulan bird of prey. Lieutenant Savick is a captain in training, so her inexperience is much more understandable. Neither officer fired a single shot in defense of the Enterprise, but Savick at least tried to defend her ship.
Fire all phasers.
No power to the weapons, Captain.
Stalker just sat there like a deer in headlights.
Number 6, The Enemy That Takes No Prisoners.
Sir, the Romulans do not take captives.
The Klingons don't take prisoners.
It's our 2 inexperienced commanders who are also the recipients of those lines. Of course, these are the only 2 times this is ever mentioned, and Kirk was to originally have said it was Romulans who didn't take prisoners, which would have been another direct reference to the Deadly Years. But the change from Romulans to Klingons made that line an indirect reference instead.
Number 7, First Season Chekov.
On SETI Alpha 5, Chekov and Terrell discover cargo containers being used as living quarters. Seeing the name Botany Bay, Chekov realizes the dire predicament that they're in.
No.
His fears are soon realized. Then Khan says this:
I never forget a face, Mr. Chekov.
Walter Koenig joined the cast in the second season, so how could Khan, a first season villain, recognize Chekov? The question we should be asking here is Chekov a member of the crew even when Koenig isn't a member of the cast? That begs the question, was Chekov still a member of the crew during the 6 second season episodes and the 8 third season episodes that didn't feature Koenig? I'd say the answer is yes, supported by the fact that he was mentioned in one of those episodes.
If I'd wanted a Russian history lesson, I'd have brought along Mr. Chekov.
So what's true for the second and third season should hold true for the first season as well. So it is possible for Chekov to have been on board the Enterprise during the first season, even though Koenig was not yet a member of the cast. But it doesn't stop there. When Kirk pulls out the old Cobromite maneuver, Chekov and Sulu exchange a knowing smile.
We'll implement the struct order using Cobromite device recently installed.
That indicates one of two things about Chekov. Number one, Chekov was on board the Enterprise and had first-hand knowledge of when Kirk used that ruse before. Or two, Chekov was not on board the Enterprise at the time and only has second-hand knowledge of the event. Sulu could have told him the story at some point, but this is an additional step, and the answers with the fewest steps are usually preferred. But if that's not enough, then there's the fact that when arranged in Stardate order, Cat's Paw, which features Chekov, occurs prior to Space Seed, which features Khan.
Captain's log, stardate 3018.2. Captain's log, stardate 3141.9.
So we have the Captain's log stardates, Khan's own superhuman memory, and the deadliers that all establish Chekov's presence on board the Enterprise during the first season. That seems pretty conclusive to me. The Wrath of Khan is called the greatest trek of them all, and yet it didn't spring forth fully formed on its own. Several TOS episodes added threads to the movie's intricately woven tapestry. Are there any other TOS episodes that you think might have influenced the Wrath of Khan? Let us know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe, it really is a huge help. Thank you for watching. Until next time, live long and prosper.